that, he can still say, would you like to do this? He can still say, would you like to do this? Would you agree that this is a good idea? He doesn't have to say, this is how it is. Too bad what you believe or want. This is how it is. I'm the man. I make the decisions. It's not like that. It's in a loving, respectful way. But if there needs to come to be a time where he says, this is how it is because she's against it, but this is the right decision. She's in her emotions. He's not. God's leading her. He has to go with what is right, even above his wife. So in that moment, he will say, this is how it is. End of story. But that's when it really has to come down to it. But other than that, you have to understand that the wife gets in the emotions easier. So she is the target first for Satan, because emotions are easier to get someone to do something, just like when you're drunk. When you're drunk, it's easier to get that person to do something compared to the person that's sober. Okay, when you're drunk, you would hook up with someone that you don't know. When you're sober, you wouldn't do such a thing. When you're drunk, you would start getting into fights with people you don't know. When you're sober, you wouldn't do such a thing. So he wants to go to the one that is weaker, and I'm not trying to be sexist about this. I'm not trying to put women down compared to men. I'm just saying emotions is easier to attack. Men are more logical, they're more thinkers. Women are more emotional. They move off of emotions. So he likes to get in the minds of men as far as thinking and have them rethink this or doubt this or worry about this. As far as women, he likes to have her worry, fear this, move off of this, question this, assume this, and that's what he does. So anyways, moving on. If she realizes that, then she removes her being an option for Satan to attack and to be a victim of his attacks and to be the one to try to make decisions against the husband, because when you do that, you're out of order. Just like Adam and Eve, they were out of order. So you don't want to be out of order where she's making decisions like that. I'm not saying the woman cannot make decisions. I'm saying in her emotions, she should not be making decisions. The woman, the wife, she can make decisions, but it's not authoritative decisions. It's not like, this is how it's going to be. You don't have a say against it. It's a decision like, I think we should do this. What do you think? I think that's a good idea. Let's do that. That's the kind of decision. Not, this is how it's going to be. You don't have a say in the matter. That's Jezebel. So what you have to understand is, if you allow yourself as the wife to realize, I'm an easy target for Satan, and he's going to try to get in my head and have me make a decision against going and seeing my husband, or going and visiting my work, or sending him this, or doing this for him, or not doing that. If you know that you can easily be manipulated through emotions, you should not be making decisions in emotions. You shouldn't be making decisions in emotions, period, male or female, because that's when Satan moves. So what you do is you say no decision making in emotions. And if you happen to have to make a decision in emotions, this is when he's going to try to say, let's break up. Let's not go to this place and visit them. Let's cancel our plane ticket. Let's not send love songs back and forth to each other. Let's not spend time on the weekend anymore. These are things he's going to try to put an end to, because they bring growth in the marriage, in your love, and in knowing each other better. So he's going to manipulate and get into your emotions and then try to put an end to those things. So you ever notice when you're in your emotions, just like when you're drunk, you do stupid stuff, foolish stuff, that when you're sober, you regret it. And you got to go back, apologize to this person, go back to this restaurant, apologize to them, go do this, go do that. You end up in jail because of this, because of that, and you regret it. Same thing when you're in emotions. When you're angry, you're in your emotions. You do and say things that you never ever dare would say and do. So then after your anger calms down and you're more calm, you're like, I can't believe I just spoke to my child that way. I can't believe I just said that to my wife. I can't believe I just told my husband that. I didn't mean it. I feel so terrible. You regret it. You regret it for a reason, because it was never you to begin with. It was never what you wanted to do, what you wanted to say, how you wanted to act, where you wanted to go. It's what Satan wanted to do through you, through your emotions in that moment. When you get angry through road rage, you flip people off. F you, man, driving by. Would you do that if you weren't angry? No. Because your anger brings a toxicness that wants to react. That spirit through you, through oppression, says flip that person off. Don't let them just drive by and get their way, that entitled person. Show them they're wrong. Go and, punch their door, knock off their mirror, whatever. That's what the spirit of anger is telling you to do. But if that spirit of anger was not there, you would never dare think to do anything like that, because that's not who you are. You don't regret what you believe in. If you tell the truth and you say, this is how I feel, you're never going to come away from that. You're not going to come and say, I regret saying that. That's not really how I feel. If it's really how you feel, it's really what you mean, it's going to stay that way. But if a regret happens, that's because it's not who you are. It was a shift of who you were to who you became through that influence. So with that being said, you have to understand that when the devil gets an influence over you through anxiety, through fear, through worry, through anger, through insecurity, he wants to have a field day with that moment. Because that's the moment that you left the door unlocked. And he's going to come in and he's going to make a mess of the place, so you have a lot to pick up after you return home. So when you're angry, when you're in your emotions in any way, he wants to make huge changes in the marriage that would never happen if you weren't in your emotions. He wants to hurt the other person in a way that you would never hurt them if you weren't in your emotions. He would have you go places that you would never dare dream of going if you weren't in your emotions. And he would have you do things that you wouldn't do, that's for his benefit, not for your own, that will work against you, that you will regret when you're done being out of your emotions. And this is the mess that you have to clean up afterwards. It's because it was never you making the mess. It was him making the mess through you. Did he come and possess you and make you do all this? No. But what he did was he took advantage of your vulnerability, of your weakness, of manipulating your emotions in that moment. He took advantage of that moment, and he had a field day with it and did whatever he wanted to, and no one could stop him, not even you yourself. But you see, if your wife sees that you're angry and you're driving and you're flipping people off as they drive by, a godly wife will pray against that. She won't allow that behavior and provoke it and say, yeah, you tell them, babe, you show them, they shouldn't be doing that. A godly wife will not give in to that toxic influence. A godly wife is the complete opposite of that influence. She is the light. She is God, because God resides in her. I'm not saying she is God. I'm saying she's godly. So she is godly because God resides in her. So God would not have you flip that person off. God would say, love your enemies. So therefore, she would be the light. She would be the strength in that moment, that you are the target. You're the driver. You're driving physically, and that situation happens and it angers you. It's not angering her. She's not driving. She's not the one that has to deal with that person. If it almost hits you, they almost hit you, she may be a little worried, yeah, you could have hit me, I could have been really hurt, but she's not. So you're hurt, you're angry, you could have hurt my wife, you could have hurt my kids, you got all this anger, this is the thoughts that are coming through this spirit of anger in your head. They could have killed your kids. You guys could have had a bad accident. All this could have, would have, should have, didn't happen. So they work off of what could have, what would have, what should have, and it doesn't exist. It never happened. So now you're getting angry over what never happened. The only thing that happened was they cut you off. So yeah, it was a close call. But are you dead? No. Are you injured? No. Did your car flip over? No. So don't allow this spirit to provoke you from here up to here off of what never happened. So they put thoughts in your head because they've already planted the seed of anger. They cut you off. You're angry. But that's not enough anger. That's just, I'm angry. They want you furious. So I'm going to plant thoughts in his head. Now that he's angry, he's already taken the bait. So now I'm going to plant thoughts that his wife could have been harmed, he could have been harmed, his children could have been harmed. They had no right to do that. They should slow down. And now this is going to heighten your anger to a higher level. Now your anger is heightened, which gives them a greater influence over the influence that is moving you and shifting you and having you act and speak. So now, whereas you were worried about the protection of your wife and them hitting your wife because she's on the passenger side door and they're coming this way, now because your anger is heightened, you don't even hear your wife anymore. They have you mad at your wife now. Why are you getting angry at me? I'm not the one that cut me off and I'm dealing with them. And now you're angry and now there's division. They created that off of this little situation. But see, your wife can prevent that situation from happening. From you getting angry, she can't because it happens. She didn't know it was going to happen. But from your anger being heightened, she can stop that. She can rebuke it. I rebuke this anger in the name of Yahusha. I command it to leave in Yahusha's name. And the anger goes out the window, goodbye, no longer in the vehicle. Or she can pray against it quietly. Father, whatever she has to say, remove this anger from my husband, have him not view these people in a bad way. Don't allow the spirit of anger to have control and manipulation over his mind and his emotions right now. Please restore peace, comfort, love, joy, happiness, whatever. Please keep us safe. In Yahushua's name I pray, amen. Then that happens. Spirit's gone, influence is gone, no heighten. This is the moves that you have to make in your marriage. Because like I told you, he will go from this to making a mess here, to going over here, to making a bigger mess there, to going over here, to make a huge mess there, to go over here, to make the biggest mess there is. He doesn't just go here, make a mess, okay, I'm gonna leave now. No, he wants to make a mess of everything because this is the one moment that you have given him legal right to do so. So he's not just gonna take one thing and say, this is good enough, I'll take this and be happy with this. No, because you're not in your emotions 24/7. So he has to fight to get into your marriage, to get into your home. He's trying to pick the lock, can't get in. He's trying to go through a window, can't get in, it's locked, trying to go through the chimney, whatever. He's trying to find a way to get into your house, get into your marriage. And he's having a dead end every single time. But now he realizes they didn't lock the door. I can go right in. I don't have to try to find a way in anymore. So he comes in and he has a field day with your marriage. And he tries to make decisions. And what you guys have to agree on is when you make a decision in your emotions, say, let's agree that when we make a decision in our emotions, that we have to confirm it the next day, that we're not in our emotions. The next time we're not in our emotions. Because sometimes you can be mad for a week and you're still in your emotions for that time. When you're not in your emotions, you got to revisit that decision that you made and say, do you really still not want to send cards anymore? And you're not in your emotions. You say, no, that's never what I wanted. I love sending cards. It makes my day. It makes my week. No, I definitely want to continue sending. I was in my emotions. I was upset. I didn't mean what I said. And then you say, okay. Then you stick to it. Then she is not hurt by it, thinking like, oh, he doesn't care about my cards. He doesn't love them. He was acting like he liked them, whatever. She realizes we know the signs of the devil and how he attacks our marriage, how he attacks our minds and our emotions. So she knows to look out for this, to expect this. So when it happens, her first mindset should not be, this is my husband wanting this. It should be, this is Satan trying to speak this through my husband to bring an end to this. Because he knows it's bringing us growth. He knows it's helping with the distance. He knows that it's having us love each other and know more about each other. That's the mindset she should have. He's going to get in her mind in the moment that he says it through his anger. The husband says, I don't want to send these anymore. He's now going to shift to her mind and play off of that, which he is doing from the husband. And now he's going to play off of it to the wife to have it be a set in stone decision of like, there's no turning back now. And he's going to get in her mind and say, oh, so you see, he doesn't want to send them anymore. So he never really cared to send them. He just did it because you wanted to and oh, you know, see, this has always been bothering him, but he just couldn't tell you, couldn't be honest with you. He doesn't like what you have to say. If he did, he would hold on to these as memories and he would continue to do it. And he'll get into her mind and start messing with her head. So it works for the benefit of his move that he's doing through the husband, and it brings success to the end result. See how that happens? So when this happens, the wife has to not allow that. She has to rebuke that. Anything negative that you hear that you just don't want, like, I don't like this cake, so take it away from me. I don't like this drink, please take it away. That's what you have to do. You don't say, I don't like this drink, but I'm gonna drink it anyways. I don't like this cake, but I'm gonna try it anyways. You don't like it, you don't want it, you avoid it, you discard of it, you get rid of it. You don't accept it. So if an emotion comes in your head, I know it's easier said than done, because when you're in your emotions, when a thought comes in your head, I know it's easier said than done, because when you're in emotions, you give in to that thought. That's how it works. That's how we get you and lead you into that action. Just like with Eve, I told you, he got in her head first, and he questioned, like, oh, did God say you can't this, that? Then he said, no, you'll become like God, knowing good and evil. That spoke to her emotions. That gave a hopeful feeling, a love, like a happy excitement, new experience type of feeling. You know, I'm going to be a different person. So yeah, that's curiosity, all that. That's what made the action of, okay, I'm going to take a bite. So that's how he works. So when he's using the anger, he says, I don't want to send cards anymore. She has to be in the mindset the best that she can. I remember this pattern. I know what's happening here. Even if he's telling her, Satan telling her in her head, oh, look, he doesn't care about you, this and that, she needs to rebuke that. She knows her husband. She knows he loves sending those cards. He's made it known 100 times. I love these cards, babe. I have them framed up on my wall, in my desk drawer, whatever. I take them to work and read them, and they brighten my day. He's made all that known, and you've heard it and remembered it and loved it in that moment. But in your emotions, you conveniently forget that, because Satan doesn't want you to remember that. Because if you remember that, it works against his attack on you right now in that moment. If he starts to come with you and say he doesn't love your cards, you could come back with truth and say, and rebuke him and say, yeah, he does love the cards. He has them on his wall. I've seen them. He takes them in, he has them in his desk and reads them. I've seen him, you know, he tells me that he reads it in the morning before work. And I see him in the kitchen table, reading it. And that's what you rebuke him with. He doesn't want you to remember that. Conveniently, you forget the things that are positive, the things that give you clarity, the things that show that he does love you. And instead, he wants to enforce this mindset of division, of hatred, of hurt. You know, you should be mad at your husband that he doesn't want to send him anymore. You should hate your husband for this. You should not want to send anymore. You should never want to share your feelings with him anymore. You should feel insecure now. And this is what he wants you to feed off of. So if you can be in the moment of learning this pattern and learning these signs and rebuking them, then he can't have that influence over you. And if he doesn't have that influence over you, then you are on the outside looking in. You're no longer a victim attacked by the abuser. The husband still is, but you aren't. So now you can say to the husband, yeah, I know you're saying this now because you're in your emotions. We'll see how you feel tomorrow about it. And now you're in control. You're in the situation strong spiritually because you're not the target. And you've already rebuked Satan, got him out of your mind, out of your emotions. So he failed his mission with you to try to get you both in agreement on his decision that he's making through your husband. You understand? Like, I know this is complicated, but if you really understand this and get this down and apply it to your life, you will see huge changes in your marriage. And you will see Satan fail more and more every single time. So with this being said, he's saying he doesn't want it. She's saying wait. So the next day you wait. And then you readdress the situation, you revisit it. So, hey babe, I know you said yesterday you didn't want to send cards. Do you still feel that way? And this way she's not in her emotions. She's on reserve, like, okay, I'm just gonna wait and see what his answer is tomorrow. Instead of allowing Satan in her mind, you should hate your husband for this, you should see that it brings you insecurity, so on and so forth. You should worry about this now, and did he really mean that when he said that? Instead of being in her emotions this whole time that they're waiting for the next day, Satan is working on her to hate it. So when he realizes he made a mistake and comes back and says, I made a mistake, please forgive me, let's continue to send cards, Satan has already worked on the wife to be in disagreement. So he worked on the husband to make the action happen, to make the decision to make that change, which is toxic and unhealthy, which works against their marriage, works against their love, works against their faith. And now he's already working on the wife because he knows the husband's going to come back when the influence is gone. He's the one that made the decision. He's the one that was in the influence and the emotions. He's going to come back and say, I didn't mean it. And if he is able to do that, the wife will be like, okay, well then we'll continue to do it. But if Satan is in her emotions while he made the decision, now when he comes back to say, I didn't mean it, she's now going to make a decision that, well, you may have not meant it, but now it hurts me. Now I don't want to. And see, he sideswipes you, he derails you like that. Whereas he was working on you and you thought, okay, it'll be good tomorrow, I'll just take it back. It's too late now because he's worked on her at the same time. So now she is the one making the decision off of the decision you first made, and now you want to take it back, and now he has you mad at her because you didn't make the decision willingly, you made it through an influence. She doesn't realize that. She thinks you made the decision willingly, so she's in her emotions. Now you're wanting to take it back, thinking everything will be great, my wife will be happy, she'll realize I didn't mean it, but now she's already in the mindset of, I'm against it now, I'm hurt by it now, I'm insecure because of it now. So now because she's in that mindset, now you're no longer the decision maker, you no longer can take back saying, I didn't mean it. Now it's in her hands. And she's not gonna say, I didn't mean it, because now she's the one against it. You see that? So if she doesn't allow herself to get in that position where she's in her emotions and she is allowing Satan to have her continually think negative thoughts, bad thoughts about her husband, about her marriage, about the situation, which is specific to whatever it is in that moment, if she rebukes those thoughts and they go, she remains in peace. He made the mistake. The next day, he ends up apologizing for the mistake, taking it back, because he didn't really say it to begin with. He spoke it, but he listened to Satan in that moment because of the emotions and the hurt and whatever. So she's still in peace. When he comes back and says, babe, I didn't mean it, she doesn't have a negative mindset toward it because she remained in peace. She remained his attack of making her negative about the situation. So it didn't work for his benefit that if he says, I take it back, that you wouldn't be able to take it back because she would now replace you being the decision maker and she would be the decision maker and she would not take it back. So then it's game over. And he has now replaced you as the male who is supposed to make the decision. And now he's manipulatively made her the decision maker. See how he does that? So if she remains in peace, she's in the spirit, she's in her faith, she's praying against the situation, rebuking the situation, rebuking her own thoughts coming to her, emotions. She remains in peace. He comes back and apologizes. She says, okay, babe, I'm back on board with you. Let's do this again. Let's give it another shot. Because she has nothing negative against it. She was just reserved, like, well, is this going to be a set in stone decision or is he going to change his mind tomorrow? That's a good position to be in. But not being unreserved, being overwhelmed is a bad position to be in. Because while he's being manipulated, like him being drunk and him making a decision like we shouldn't buy that car, we shouldn't buy that house, when you're drunk and saying, oh, it's an ugly house and we can't afford it, this and that, things that he would never ever say. Now she is taking what he is saying because it's her husband. She doesn't realize it's an influence that he's listening to. She's taking what he's saying as value, as credibility, and now she's losing interest in the house because her husband is. Just like Eve loved the fruit, so the husband loved the fruit because his wife did. So now she's losing interest in the house. Now when he's sober and he says, I didn't mean that, babe, I definitely do want to get that house. Now she's lost interest because now she views it a different way. She was sober the whole time, but his influence influenced her. And now she hates the house. And now he can't take it back. He can't change her mind. Satan has won. She's the decision maker. And there you go. That's how he does the bait and switch. He gets the husband who is the decision maker. He knows you're the decision maker. That's why he targets the husband. Because he knows he has to make a decision through you, not through the wife. So he makes the decision through you. Then he gets you to regret the decision. Then he works on her to be the decision maker in replacement of you. and now you can't speak against it because you made the decision to begin with, but it was a regret. And now you can't be mad at your wife for being hurt or insecure or offended or whatever by your decision that you made when you were drunk spiritually, drunk physically, and now you have no choice but to let her be the decision maker in that situation. And that's how he manipulates. So if you end up being the one that's drunk, spiritually attacked, whatever, she stays calm, she waits till the next day, you still remain the decision maker. She stays the woman of God. You remain the decision maker. He doesn't bring you both to the same level. She doesn't allow it. She says, no, Satan, get out of my head, I rebuke you. In Yahushua's name. So he takes back what he said, which is still making the decision, and then she's in agreement and says, okay, babe, we'll still get that house. You see how it's not toxic, it's peaceful, there's no division, it's just her staying on reserve, or if it's flipped, and she's making a decision, and you're reserved, and you're waiting on her decision when it's in emotions, and then you both come together and say, okay, let's continue to do it. But, like I said, this is what he does in marriages, is he loves to make a mess, and then when the emotions have left you, now you have so much to pick up. You're like, oh, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I broke that. I can't believe I treated my child this way. I can't believe I went there last night. I can't believe I told my mom this about us. And you have all this that he did through you in that moment of opportunity, of vulnerability, of weakness, of giving into his influence, as if he's your spiritual driver, and he's saying, we're going to go to your mom's house and you're going to tell her this. We're going to go to your child now and you're going to do this. And we're going to go to your dog and you're going to do this. And he's driving you and telling you what to do, and then having you get back in the car of emotions and then go somewhere else and mess something else up. And then when you're out of that car for good, you realize, I got to go back to those places and fix and repair everything I just did. Everyone sees that it's you, because it's you, your face, your body, your hands doing the action, your voice, your mouth speaking. But they don't realize that you have like an earpiece from Satan and you're listening to what he says. Tell her this, go do this, tell her no more of that. And that's what you're doing. And they don't recognize the earpiece. They just see you and they're like, how could you tell me that? You've never told me anything like that before. Why would you want to break up with me? Like, you've never ever mentioned anything about that. Why this, why that? Why do you not want to do this anymore? You've never ever mentioned that being a problem. And they don't realize, if you could just be like, babe, I have an earpiece. I'm listening to what I'm being told. It's not me. It's an earpiece that I'm listening to. Or like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't mean what I just said. I don't want to stop this. I didn't mean this when I told you that. I don't want to break up. They don't understand because they don't see what's spiritually happening. All right, part 2, I guess, maximum file size on the SD card. They don't understand, so they can't spiritually see what's happening to you that Satan is doing, because it's spiritual. They can't physically see with their eyes what's happening spiritual. So it's happening unless he's saying, Satan's telling me this, and Satan's making me believe this, and Satan's wanting me to have us break up, then they will know, like, babe, I have an earpiece that I'm just listening to what he's telling me. But in that moment, you're not thinking that way. Through the emotions and the mindset that come in that moment, you're thinking this is your own thought. You're thinking, like, you may know that this is not you, but you're giving into it as if you're allowing it to be you. So it's like, you know you don't drink, but you're allowing yourself to go and get drunk. So it's you allowing Satan to plant these lies, to plant this worry, to plant this fear, and then it works against you. It doesn't ever work for your benefit. It doesn't work for the benefit of your marriage. It doesn't work for the benefit of your life. It doesn't work for the benefit of your growth spiritually. And that's the whole point of it, is to work against you. So this is things that you need to do in your marriage that will help you tremendously. Is when you see an influence come over your husband or your wife, immediately identify it. Don't call them out on it. Don't say, you're acting like a Jezebel right now. Don't say that. Just say, I'm going to pray for you right now. I'm going to pray for us right now. And then just go into prayer, pray against that influence that is making her act like a Jezebel. Pray against that influence that's making him angry. Whatever it may be, pray against that influence that is bringing fear and worry over her. Don't say, why are you giving into this fear and worry? That feels like an attack. They're not meaning to. They're not like fear and worry come and they're like, hey, you want to come hang out with us? Yeah, I do. Let's go. Like, it's not like that. It's like almost like a forced situation. Like, we're fear and worry, and you're going to come with us right now, and you're not going to say anything about it. And they take you away. Especially in your anxiety, everything's heightened. So you most definitely, like, here's the chain. Let's go. We're out of here. So you need to be supportive in a way of not making it known to them. You can say in a loving way, like, babe, I see that, you're giving into fear. I really want you to move in faith, so I'm going to start praying for you. I'm going to get this influence away from you. Whatever. Don't say it in a negative, attacking way, like, oh, you're giving into fear again. This always happens. You always do this. You give into fear, and then fear takes over and runs our marriage, and you make decisions, and you act this way. You don't listen to me. That's just fueling that fear to have more power and control over your wife or your husband if he's giving into fear and worry in that moment. Because now she has no one to protect her. Just like I told you, it's like if someone has her with a knife at her throat and you're saying, how could you allow yourself to be in this situation where some guy has this knife around your throat? Well, what are you thinking? Like, why weren't you with me? That's not going to help her. You're just putting more fear and worry into her. She already has a knife to her throat. She doesn't need a lecture at the same time. So it's the same thing. You gotta be the calming voice. You gotta be the gentle soul. You gotta be the loving husband or wife. You gotta be the spiritual strength. You gotta be moving and walking in spirit and in faith and in trust. So you have to be the one that sees the situation. You may want to get mad at the situation, but instead you sacrifice and you say, that's not beneficial for my wife right now, for me to lecture her about this, for me to get on her about this. So instead, I'm going to be her motivator. I'm going to be her encourager. I'm going to be her protector. I'm going to be her supporter. And instead, I'm going to go and I'm going to rebuke this guy. I'm going to take out my gun and I'm going to kill him. I'm going to pray against this. I'm going to take out my gun and I'm going to kill him. I'm going to read scripture against this. I'm going to take out my gun and I'm going to kill him. So this is what she needs. She needs a protector, not a lecturer. Because at that point, if you're lecturing her, she'll probably like, just cut my throat. Like, I just want to die. I don't want to deal with this. Right now when I'm having you, like, your knife is up to my throat, my husband, the first thing he wants to talk about is problems with me. So just do it. Just get it over with and just end my life. So I don't mean that literally, like, we're not talking suicide here, but I'm just saying, like, that's how it is in that moment. Like, she needs a voice of calming waters, not of a thundering storm. She needs something that comforts her, that loves her, that makes her feel safe, even when there's a knife up to her neck. And that's your job. And if it's switched, and he's the one with a knife up to his neck, that's your job. But see, with marriages, with relationships, it's your problem. I'm gonna let you guys deal with your situation. You got a knife up to your neck. Hopefully you get out of that situation. I'm gonna be over here. There's something I need to buy, so I'm just gonna go do this. When you guys are done and you're freed from him, however else you are, then you can come and join me over here. Because then your problem is solved. I don't have to deal with it. That's not love. That's not protection. That's not even care. That's selfishness. And you should be ashamed of yourself. But that is Jezebel behavior. Because Jezebel has no empathy. They don't feel. So what they do is they study people and how they're supposed to cry, how they're supposed to get angry, and they study emotions and then they mimic those emotions. So that way they appear to be real. Just like their whole life is a lie, a facade that they live as a false truth that other people believe as truth, but it's false. So they give you a false perception of reality, of their reality, of who they are, and you believe it to be true. Unless you truly know who they are, then you realize this is just a facade. They're just fake. They're phony. They're liars. They're manipulators. They're deceivers. So that's what you have to understand. So with that being said, they have no empathy. So they're not going to get involved in your situations willingly. They're not going to say, I see that you're sad, so I'm going to sacrifice going and hang out with my friends today, which I was supposed to do. We were supposed to go play football. And instead, I'm going to stay here with you. And I'm going to make sure that you're okay, and that I can put a smile on your face and whatever else. They're not like that. They're saying, you know what, you're sad right now. I got a football game to go to. You're really dampening my day right now. It's really inconvenient. I hope you feel better, but I just can't be here right now. So I'm going to go and I'm going to do what I was supposed to do. That's dismissive. That's selfish. So they are dismissing that person's feelings that they supposedly love and care about. You don't do that. Someone who loves someone and cares about someone puts them first, even before themselves. So if you have a game of football with buddies and it's once a week, if your wife, hopefully she's not being manipulative, Jezebel, trying to keep you away from having fun and trying to make a scene so that way you have to sacrifice that for her, or him being manipulative, Jezebel, hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it's genuine, something really did happen, maybe a family member passed away or something. It's your job as someone who loves and cares about that person to be there for them. That's when they need you the most, is when they are vulnerable, is when they are feeling confused and lost and can't put pieces together to make sense of the situation. When they're hurt and heartbroken, when they're feeling alone and neglected, that's when they need you the most. When they're angry for a reason. There's something that happened that bothered them. It's not, I had a great day today, so I'm going to be angry. Their anger is a projection of something that happened that affected them. Today, my boss yelled at me. Today, my boss said I didn't sell enough. Today, my mother told me that she wished she never had me. She hates that I do this. And it's things that you aren't there to physically witness, but they are seeds that are planted in her head and in her emotions that is a ticking time bomb that is just ticking inside, and she's angry now, and you're just getting back from work and you're like, why are you angry? What did I do? And now you're thinking it's you, and now she's like, why are you being selfish? Why does everything have to be about you? I'm angry because of this with my mom or this with my boss. And your job in that moment is to be like, oh baby, I'm so sorry, sorry that happened to you. And your job is to calm her down. Your job is to rebuke that influence. Your job is to rebuke that anger, rebuke that sorrow, rebuke that stress, rebuke that worry. Baby, don't worry, we'll get through this. You know, your boss fired you, that really sucks, but you know what? God will provide. We'll get another job. It'll be a better job. Your boss will love you. You'll enjoy going to work. You won't complain. It won't be a problem for you. And you start to be that motivation builder that gives them that strength to get up. That's what they need. They don't need nor want someone, they're projecting for a reason. Projecting, people can be angry and not project. Like, you can be angry and just be like, leave me alone. Those people, they want to be left alone. But people that project, it's them crying out for help in a way that they don't know how. They can't say in their anger, help me with my anger right now. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be hurt by this. They're just angry and showing you their anger out in the open because they want you to see it and do something about it. Some people, they get angry and they want to be left alone. That doesn't mean that they're trying to hide their anger from you. It means that that's how they deal with situations. That's how they get better. They don't want to take their anger out on you. They isolate it to themselves. It's not wise, but I can't tell people how to handle their own anger. But by doing that, you allow yourself and that anger to be an influence that remains with you. You say, I'm angry, I'm gonna go in the other room, I will come back when I'm calm. You allow yourself to leave, the anger stays with you. It doesn't say, okay, well, she's in the other room, so while she's there, me and you are gonna hang out until she gets back and I'm gonna make her angry again. The anger goes with you. So, depending on what you do, if you do really work on calming yourself down, it can happen, it does happen. I've had it happen in the past to me. where I'm away from the person and I'm not engaging with them. They're not provoking me to get even more angry. They're not doing things that annoy me that make me more angry. They're not smothering me to where I feel suffocated. Then I'm away from them. I'm able to calm myself down, and then I come back and I apologize for my anger. But then there's also moments where people have a toxic anger to where they get angry, they say, leave me alone, they leave out the house, and then they do stupid, foolish things through their anger because that anger did not leave them and they did not plan on calming down. They planned on allowing that anger to comfort them and to grow bigger within them, just like a fire that you throw fuel on the fire, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. If you want to calm down, that's you being drunk and saying, I need to start drinking water and sobering up. They aren't in that mindset. Someone who wants to calm down is in that mindset. So they're drunk and they say, this is spiritually drunk. They're drunk and they say, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I need to just go calm down. I will be back. They're not saying that just to say that. They mean that, and that's their goal. That's their focus. That's their objective. So they go and do that. They say, I don't want to be drunk anymore. You guys can continue to party and drink. I'm going to go sober up. That's their goal. That's their focus. That's their objective. They're going to do that. They're going to have water by their side, drinking water, sobering up. Then they come back sober. Okay, you guys ready to leave now? I'm sober. I can drive. Whereas someone who says, leave me alone. I just want to be angry. I don't want to be bothered. That's someone not drinking water. They're saying, leave me alone. I want to drink harder liquor. I want to continue to drink throughout the night until I black out. So they're not in the mindset of, I want to go calm myself down and come back apologizing. And I realize being with you right now is only making matters worse. They're in the mindset of, I want to be left alone so I can continue to be angry and you can't stop me from being angry because I like being angry right now. It's comforting me, this spirit of anger. What it's telling me I'm loving, and it's making me more angry, and it's making me happier, and I want to punch things now, and I want to go and do this, and I want to go and have unforgiveness toward this person, and I want to go make this mistake. And that's the difference. You don't want to be in that mindset. So if you can be in the mindset where you can allow the person to comfort you, it removes that influence immediately. Because that person doesn't have an influence of anger, you do. It's like going to a therapist telling them your problems. It's your life problems, not theirs. I don't condone therapists, but I'm saying they don't have the same life problems that you have. You say, I'm abused by my mom, my sister and I fight, kids in school, this, that. They don't have that life. So they don't feel what you feel. You feel it, you're asking for help to not feel it. They can help you not feel it because they don't feel it. So they know how to help you not feel it because they are your support system. So they remove that anger, remove that hurt, remove that sadness, remove that insecurity. And now you feel like them. So in the situation of a marriage, if one is angry and the other is not, the one that is not needs to be the one that is there for the one that is. But Satan doesn't want that to happen. So immediately when one is angry, he wants to work quickly to get the other one angry too. Because then there's no one to stop them unless a friend comes over and says, you guys need to calm down, you're both angry. You need to separate, go in another room, whatever. Then you got the peacemaker. But see, if Satan can get him angry, and then through his anger, he can say things hurtful to you, and that gets you angry, that's a trigger. Satan used your husband to trigger your anger, got him into anger, said something he said to you, which he would never dare say if he wasn't angry, but Satan knew it would hurt you. So it hurt you, you gave in to the bait, now you're angry. You allowed Satan to get you angry when you should have just said, you don't mean that, or I know you don't believe that, or I know you didn't want to say that, and you don't allow that influence to come over you and make you angry. By doing that, you rebuke it. You rebuke this anger. You may have said that and that hurt me, but I rebuke it in Yahushua's name. I'm not going to allow it to come over to me and influence me. So then by doing that, you stay the peacemaker. Satan can't use you. He can only continue to use your husband. But now God has you, the peacemaker, to remove the influence from your husband. But see, if Satan gets over your husband or your wife, flip the situation. Now he's trying to get you angry so that way he can get control over both of you. He doesn't want God to have control over one of you because then that stops his move from happening and being successful. So he wants to have control over both of you. So now he has you both battling against each other, division, fighting, arguing, whatever, disagreements. So with this being said, you have this anger. He has this anger. It tries to come over to you. He says hurtful things to you that should hurt you, should affect you. If you don't allow it to trigger you, and you just think of it like, my husband's just angry right now. He doesn't mean what he's saying. I know this sounds something could be true, but I just have to know that he's in his emotions, and I know how he is when he's in emotions, and I just can't buy into what he's saying. This spirit of anger is trying to come over to you, and you take your shield and knock it away. It doesn't make contact with you. So now you are still you are still sane, you are still spiritually strong, and now you are the peacemaker to calm down and remove the spirit of anger over your husband. But when the spirit is over your husband, if it attacks you with words and you believe that it's your husband, you allow yourself to believe that lie. You plant a seed of anger in your head that spirit planted by spewing that lie into your ear. And now it's like you taking the earpiece and putting it here. Your husband already has it. And now the spirit's like, hey, you take this earpiece and let me speak to you too. And you're like, okay. Now you take the earpiece and the spirit's like, yeah, your husband's saying this and that about you. You should be upset about that. You should be hurt by that. Oh, that should break your heart. You should want to, think suicidal now. And that should really make you want to break up with him and whatever else. You've allowed that influence because you believe the lie. You allowed that influence to come from him to you. You didn't rebuke it. You didn't ignore it. You didn't stay calm. Now you're angry. He's angry. Spirit is in his ear. Spirit is in your ear. Now, what is the spirit going to do? Have you guys fall in love? No. It's going to have you guys battle back and forth, fight, argue, throw things, make mistakes that you wish you didn't make, regrets that you wish you could take back. That's what's going to happen because that's what they love. That's what they feed off of. That's their entertainment. Whereas we love to see people happy and laughing and having fun. They love to see people miserable, angry, furious, annoyed, frustrated, in fear, in worry. That's what they love. It's darkness, it's wickedness, it's evil. So this is what they feed off of. So if you give them that entertainment by getting engaged with the one that has a spiritual influence over them, now you've given them a show to sit down and watch. But if you prevent yourself from engaging with the one that has the influence, now you bring a divider between the two of you, which will not bring division, but will separate you two in that moment. And while you are separated, this person who is not influenced, their job and focus is to get their husband to stop talking like that, not by talking to him. Don't say that about me. You don't mean that. That's you engaging with the anger behind your husband. What you need to do is rebuke it. It's a spiritual attack. You're speaking physical words. That's going to do nothing against a spiritual attack. You have to go spiritual with spiritual. So you don't give in. This is what Jezebel loves. This will help you fighting with Jezebel too. Jezebel will say things that trigger you, that push your buttons, because they know they can get a reaction out of you. Just like bullies, they do stuff to get a reaction. So Jezebel does things that they know will provoke you, make you angry, make you sad, heartbroken, worried, in fear, codependency, whatever. And through this influence, it's their supply. So through these devils, it's the same thing. They want to bring all this toxicness because it's their entertainment, just like it's Jezebel's entertainment. Oh, look, she's crying. I'm so happy. Oh, look, she's mad. That's hilarious. Oh, look, she's stressing out. Oh, that brings me great joy. That is what it's like. You can't give them that benefit. You can't give them that supply. You need to cut it off and bring that divider. The divider is prayer when it comes to attacks against your husband or your wife. It can be prayer in that moment that you're being attacked by Jezebel. You can say, in that moment in your head, just say, Father, remove this influence. Please have her not be able to provoke me into anger, into fear, into worry, whatever. Please bring peace and calm and clarity over my mind in Yahushua's name. That's fine. You can rebuke out loud if you have the courage and boldness to do so. I have done that to my mom, ex-Jezebel boyfriend. He was fighting with me back and forth, face to face, and I said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. Because at the time I was saying Jesus Christ, which is fine. Yahusha is the Hebrew translation of Jesus Christ. Yahushua HaMashiach. But in that time I was saying Jesus Christ, and I said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. And when he was like this after I rebuked him. He like froze, like, whoa, like, wow, what just happened to me? Like, I was just so angry, and now I'm like myself again. And that's what happens. Because it's an influence that is spiritually over him. Be angry with him, fight him, punch him, get mad at him. Don't let him talk to you like that. What's wrong with you? And it's like a earpiece that's in their ear that they're listening to and obeying because of the emotions that are, stirring them up. So that's the mindset. And then when you rebuke that influence, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you in the name of Yahusha, that influence, gone, earpiece out. And then they're like, what did you just say? Like, that's what he said. He was like, what did you just say? I said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. And he was like, wow, I didn't even know what happened. Like, he was not himself. It was like a demon possession. He was not demon possessed, but that's what it's like. And that's what you got to do with Jezebel. When she tries to provoke you, tries to push your buttons, if you have the courage and boldness to say it out loud right to their face, you are speaking to the devil behind them, not them in the flesh. It's not your mother, not your father, not your boyfriend, not your girlfriend, not your husband, not your wife, not your sister, not your brother, not your teacher, this, that. It's whoever is trying to come to you in a harmful way, that is trying to harm you, that is trying to hurt you, that is trying to provoke you, that's trying to make you angry, that's trying to make you sad, that's trying to belittle you, that's trying to bully you in any kind of way, put you into fear. All that is not of God. It is of the kingdom of darkness from the very pit of hell. So it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's your mother. It doesn't matter if it's your sister. It doesn't matter if you were closest to them. It's your best friend. It's a spiritual influence behind them in that moment, using them as a vessel to attack you because you trust that person. So you trust them, and then that spirit makes you feel that you can't anymore. And then that person's like, I didn't say that. I didn't do that to you. And you're like, I'm sorry, I don't trust you now. That's how they bring division. Because you're not wrestling flesh and blood. It's not you and your mom. It's not you and your sister, you and your dad, you and your brother. It's not that. It's the spirit that is over them in that moment, that is in their mind, in their emotions, that is using them as a vessel, as if they put on a costume and now they are that person. And they speak to you things that hurt you, things that provoke you, whatever. You should not accept anything negative that is spoken to you, that is shown to you, that is abusive, any kind of hitting, any kind of verbal abuse, any kind of mind control manipulation, any kind of curses being spoken into your life. You should not accept that. The minute you accept anything bad, that is a seed planted. You may in that moment, someone says, yeah, you're a loser. And you're like, yeah, okay. You think in that moment that they did not affect you. But yet, it's still running through your head. You acted like you were a tough guy. And you said, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. And you walk away. But now, every single day, you keep replaying that over and over in your head. It's not you replaying it, it's Satan. He wants you to believe that curse that was spoken into your life from that person, that insult, that injury. And he wants it to hurt you. He didn't like that you were okay with it and it didn't affect you in that moment. So he's like, okay, it didn't affect you then. Well, let's see if it affects you now. So you continue to think, oh, you're a loser, you're a loser. Then that starts to play off to other times when this person called you a loser too. And now it's heightened. And now it's getting bigger. It's a seed that is growing bigger and bigger in your head, and it's just going to explode. So you have to understand that you can't allow things negative to be spoken about you. Doesn't matter who it is, especially family members that love you, especially husbands and wives that love you. It's not you saying to them, like, I don't accept this from you. It's you saying to them, I'm not going to allow this spirit behind you to affect me. It's not you rebuking your husband, rebuking your wife, rebuking your mom, rebuking your dad. You're rebuking the spirit behind them that they're not aware of. They've taken the earpiece. They didn't realize it was going to be a bad decision that they made. And now the earpiece says, you must do as I command. And they're like, okay, what do you command? Command that you tell your husband that he's a loser and he needs to get a life. Okay, husband, you're a loser. You need to get a life. And you're like, whoa, I just said that? I don't mean that. And then your husband's like, really? You think that? Like, why didn't you tell me that before? No, I didn't mean that. This earpiece told me to say that, and I said it. And now you got this division. Now you got this trust issue. Now you got this insecurity. Now you got, I don't know if I can love him if he's going to treat me like this. But it's not him doing it. It's the influence he's giving into. So don't use it against him unless it's Jezebel. Then it's Jezebel doing it, unfortunately. But if it's, you generally know this person and you know they're not that kind of person to say something like that, and it's just odd behavior. It's different. It's like, where did this come from? Like, who have you been hanging out with? Where have you been going? What have you been watching? Where did this change come from? If you're in that mindset, that's a spiritual influence that they're giving into, and they're allowing that influence to hurt you through them as the vessel. And because they're hurting you, you're not seeing the influence hurting you, you're seeing your husband hurt you. So that's like them hurting you, having your husband hurt you, and then putting your husband's name on it, like a painting. Like, this is what the spirit painted, and it makes you look ugly and a loser, but they put your husband's name as the artist at the bottom. And then your husband gives it to you. And he says, here you go, I want you to have this. And you're like, this really hurts me. Why would you paint something like this? I didn't paint that. What do you mean? I wanted you to have it because I was told to give it to you. But you're calling me a loser and you're a loner, and like, look, I'm sad and I'm crying. Like, why would you give me this painting? And look, your name is on the bottom of the painting, which means you painted it. See? So it's like, you're just like, why would you do this? You're like, no, I didn't do it. Just because my name's there, I didn't do it. And that's what they're seeing physically. They're seeing spiritually, you're being attacked. They can't see that. Unless they have the gift of discerning of spirits, then they can see the spirit realm. But spiritually, they can't see what's happening. Physically, they see husband speaking to wife, words coming from his mouth to her ears. That's it. She doesn't realize the words are being spoken into an earpiece from their head, that he's speaking to her and relaying the message. She doesn't see that. So it works against the husband, and now it brings and causes division. So I hope you understand this. It's a very long video. I didn't expect it to be this long, but praise God for this revelation, for this truth, for this spiritual information of the spirit realm and what's going on. Like I said, you got to be there for each other. Okay? If she's stressing out, you take that stress on with her. Even if you're happy, don't you want to know what she's feeling like so you can help her? You can't help someone unless you put yourself in their shoes and know how they are feeling in that moment. To say, okay, she's stressed. Why is she stressed? What stressed her out? Get to the root of the problem. Then you can figure out how to fix the problem. If the TV's not working, you have to figure out, I don't condone TV. I don't even own a TV and I never will. But for this example, if a TV's not working, you have to figure out why. You have to get to the root of the problem. Okay, I turn it on, I press the power button, doesn't work. Or no, let's say this. Oh yeah, we'll say that. I press it on, power button, not turning on. What's going on? I check, see if the batteries are in there. They're good. Power button shows, so the batteries work. So that's not it. So let me get to the root of the problem and figure this out. Oh, the cord is out of the wall. Someone must have moved the TV and the cord came out and they didn't put the TV on after it. You got to the root of the problem. How do you fix the problem? Plug it in, power on, TV works. So you got to get to the root of the problem of people's problems. If she's stressed out, you get stressed out for her. See, when my wife is sick, I'm not the type of person where I'm like, oh, I'll be there for you. Like, yeah, you want to be there for them, but I'm not the type of person that's like, you're sick, that sucks. I hope you get better soon. Here, I'll just give you this and be on my way. I'm the type of person that if you're sick, I'm sick with you. I'm the type of person first that if you're sick, I wish I could be sick so you don't have to be sick. Because I'm not sick. But in order for you to not be sick anymore, I want your sickness. If God could do that, I would ask that. God, give me her sickness and heal her. And that is the kind of guy that I am. So with that being said, that's my first option. Obviously it can't happen. So the second one is to be sick with her. Not to literally like, hey, cough on me and make me sick, but to be there with her as if you were sick. If she's laying down, you lay down with her. But you don't take on her sickness to where you're both weak. You have to be the strength for her in the time that she's weak. What I mean by is you be sick with her is you stay with her. You stay with her, you keep her company, you hold her, whatever you gotta do. I don't even care to get sick. If I'm with her and I know it's gonna make me sick, great, give it to me because I want to experience it with her. I don't want her to take it on herself. So I will say, get me sick. That way I can better understand where she is right now. I can understand how she feels, and then I can know how to comfort her. And that is the mindset that you wanna have, is you are the body of Christ. Anything that the body endures, you endure together as different members of the body, as children of God. So if one person is struggling from getting bullied in school, you don't say, well, that's not my problem. I don't go to that school. That's not my problem. You're a stranger to me. That's not my problem. You as a child of God, that's your brother. That's your sister in Christ. You make it your problem. And now you go into prayer about it and you pray that God removes this situation and helps bring, security and comfort and love and protection to this brother or sister in Christ. That's what we're called to do as the body of HaMashiach. That's what it means when it says, when one is down, all of you are down. When one is up, all of you are up. So when one endures failure, we all endure failure together because we don't abandon each other. We don't say, well, that's your failure, that's not mine. I'm doing good over here with my life, so keep your failure to yourself. No, when one endures failure, we all jump into the failure willingly. Like, let's all fail with you, so that way you're not alone. And then when one succeeds and gets victory, defeating the devil, yay, let's throw a party, let's all succeed with you and be here with you and congratulate you and celebrate with you and enjoy it with you. That's what the body of HaMashiach is. So that's how it has to be in marriage. It's the same way. If your husband is mad, you're naturally gonna get mad because it makes you angry that your husband is hurting. It makes you angry that he's angry. You're not mad at him, you're mad that he's angry. If your husband is crying, or if the wife is crying, you feel for that person. Maybe this is an empath thing, I don't know, but you feel for that person. At least I do, and my wife does, and we feel for each other. If she's crying, now I'm crying. I have nothing to cry about. She's the one that's crying. But it's hurting me that my wife is crying. So I'm taking on her emotions as if I could remove them from her and give them to myself so she doesn't have to deal with them anymore. And that's what it's like. So when one is down, you're both down. It's not, this is your problem, deal with it, fix it, come back to me when you want to be up again. No. When she's down, you're down with her. When she's up, you're up with her. When he's down, you're down with him. When he's up, you're up with him. And that's how it's supposed to be. Two becoming one. Okay? So it's not two, you doing your thing, you doing your thing. It's two joining together as one. You take on things equally. You are a team. Don't let the devil make you enemies. Don't have him hand you a sword and hand her a sword and say, go ahead, be my entertainment for today and fight each other. Say, okay, we'll do that. And then you both know you're not going to do something so foolish and stupid. You love each other. So you know who's the one trying to have that happen. So now you turn your weapons on the person who gave you the weapons to begin with. And you say, we're not going to fight each other. We're going to fight you. And we're going to take you down and make you wish that you never thought of making us fight against each other ever and never will again. And that's what you have to do. You don't fight each other. You're not enemies. You love each other. You're husband and wife. You fight the enemy. This is what the enemy does. He provokes, instigates a situation, and he's the one that caused it, and he sits back and watches it unfold in front of him, and he's like, I love what I did here. And instead of being that idiot puppet of his, instead you need to, when he tries to bring you to be against each other, you need to look at each other and say, what are we doing? We're not enemies. He's the enemy. Let's go get him. Yeah, let's do that. And then he's like, whoa, what? What happened? Like, you guys are supposed to be against each other. I don't understand. Why are you coming against me? No, leave me alone. Stop. And he'll cowardly run away. The reason he brings division is because he likes to work on one at a time. Same thing in this world. He brings division. Has you watching Survivor series episodes on TV, reality TV, where everyone is out for themselves. It's not let's join together as a group and let's win and have victory together. It's I gotta win, and if I have to do this to you to win, I'm gonna do so. He wants the mindset of division because division is selfish. And division allows him to control people a lot easier because it's one person he has to deal with, one person he has to deal with this person at this time, deal with that person at that time. But if two people come at one, he's outnumbered. And he knows that. So if you join together, 2 and 1, now he's outnumbered. Because now there's 2 against 1. And that 2 is greater. Especially where 2 or more are gathered, there Yahushua is in the midst of them. So you have 3 against 1. He doesn't want that. So he tries to bring division one-on-one. I'll get her to do this and him to do that and fight against each other, and then I get to sit back and watch the entertainment. But if you guys don't give in to that, and you say, I'm not going to be against my wife, I'm not going to be against my husband, I love my husband, I love my wife, let's fight against Satan. And then they go and do that, he's going to run away like the coward that he is. And he's never going to want to make that mistake again. So that's where I'm going to leave the message. God bless you guys. Yahushua loves you. Pray about this. Seek confirmation as always. The Lord reveals the spirit realm to me in this way, and I felt it's very important for the children of God to know this, and even people who don't know God to know that this is how the coward works. So all glory and praise goes to God. Share this video if you'd like. This is 2-part, so I'll put part 1 in the description and the comment section pinned. God bless you guys. Have a blessed day.